class number 2 in the series of lectures given by Yogiraj Vettatiri Maharishi in his Simplified Kundalini Yoga. So to begin today, I'd like to invite each of you to take a deep breath and just step out of your day. Step out of whatever you've been doing, whatever's been in your mind. Just step out of your mind. Step out as if you're stepping out of your body, stepping out of this corporal world, this physical world, and enter into a spiritual world within yourself. And there's something that brought you here to this call. There's something calling to you, calling to all of us, everyone that's watching this and listening to this, at whatever moment in time, in whatever part of the world you happen to be connecting. There is something guiding each and every one of us, and the purpose of this series of lectures and this course in Kundalini Yoga is to provide you the tools and training to realize your full potential, to realize yourself. You already know that the answers lie within you. You already know that the source of happiness and peace lies within. Chances are you've already done a lot of meditation and yoga and other spiritual practices, so we don't need to tell you the basics. This is an advanced course. This is the science of Kundalini Yoga, the science of the self. It goes to the very heart of the practice of yoga and the path to enlightenment. And I've spent my entire life, from the age of 5, beginning to meditate, to writing books on world religions, to studying with dozens of gurus all over the world. And it's been exciting for me to see the movement grow to now we're at the point where there's millions and millions of people all over the world that are not only practicing some form of yoga and meditation, but they're actually enlightening. And chances are you, as you're listening to me, are in the midst of this enlightenment, the enlightenment of the consciousness to the full realization of the self, to the full realization of God. And in my studies with all these different gurus, kind of guru hopping through India and the Himalayas, and all the yogis that have come to the United States, I think it's safe to say that there's a value in each teaching and each teacher. I don't know if you can say there's any one way or only way or the right way per se. It's depending on what you are called to. You will be guided to the people, the places, the situations, and the teachers, as I was, and as you are in this moment. But the one thing I can say is Swamiji was the real McCoy. He had Shakti that was palpable. He had a spiritual energy around him where just being in his presence would transform you. It wasn't an intellectual exercise. It wasn't a matter of what you do. It was really a matter of what you allow. The more open you are to receive, the more you will receive. So I want to invite you to step into this potential and invite you to step within yourself, to step out of your mind and go deeper, to plumb the depths of your soul. Today, we're not just connecting mind to mind and person to person. We're connecting spirit to spirit and soul to soul. I want to take you at whatever level you are at currently in your practice and say, what can we do to move ourselves to that next level? To bring a little more light in, a little more clarity, a little more spiritual energy or Shakti into our lives. So let's begin today by recognizing the life force within us that is us. I invite you to take a deep breath and just feel why you're here. Like we've recused ourselves from our work and our family and our daily living, and we're going to take a 60-minute vacation. We're going to step out of the outer world and go into an inner world. And part of what can help us here is if we imagine we're simply sitting in a hot tub, a mineral bath, or a jacuzzi, some warm, bubbling, frothy water that's comfortable to sit in, relaxing for your muscles, tendons, and bones. So I'd like to invite you to find a comfortable place to sit and sit up straight. Your spine always needs to be erect. You think of your spine as an antenna. And today we're going to talk about Simplified Kundalini Yoga. In the second lecture, Swamiji would always explain what Sky is, or Simplified Kundalini Yoga, the science of the self. And I'd like you to enjoy this experience as much as possible. And so let's just imagine we're sitting at a retreat, and we're going to sit in a hot tub, and we're just going to have a nice talk while we bubble away in this frothy, floaty feeling, like a jacuzzi of consciousness That's relaxing your muscles, relaxing your mind, and just let go of what was earlier, what may happen later, and be fully present in this present moment with me. I invite you to connect with that part of you that directed you to be here to be listening to me. For the same volition that makes my heart beat makes your heart beat. And the same volition that's speaking through me is listening through you. In other words, we all went through some protocol or process of connecting in this moment. I'd like to invite you to get in touch with that part of yourself that knew to be here and to listen to this. For that which you are seeking is causing you to seek. And the true Guru, the Sat Guru, lies within you. And it's engaging your mind right now if you're listening right now. So you want to be right here, right now, or to be in the present moment, or to be here now, and to feel this power in the present moment. When you become conscious, when your mind hears the calling of your own indwelling spirit. So for your meditations to be powerful, and for this satsang, or discussion, to be powerful, you first need to check in with the part of you that guided you to be here. For that part of you, you can call it your Shakti, call it your spirit, call it your innate intelligence, but whatever you want to call it, call upon it now. Allow your mind and body to recognize that inner inclination, that intuition, that has been guiding you to different books and different teachers and different studies along the way. And allow yourself to be in a space where you're open to receive, and you will find, regardless of your preconceived ideas, limiting beliefs or fears, regardless of any other things that either of us may think, there's something greater than us guiding all of us, and holding the space in this moment will allow a power greater than us to come in and guide the meditation and guide the satsang. So breathe in and just dip your feet down into the hot tub. Imagine you're bending your knees and just sit down into the warm pool of water and imagine this warmth rolling up your back and soaking into your muscles and tendons and bones. And as you continue to relax, lay back and feel the water coming all the way up to your neck, massaging the tension out of your back and your neck and your skull. Just breathe in. And as you breathe out, just breathe out and say, ah. The sound of ah is actually a primordial sound. It's a mantra. And we typically don't use a lot of mantra in advanced meditation. It's a good technique to get you started and to connect energetically for people with very active minds. But we want to go beyond process. We're going to go beyond a doing and some outer sense of a doer trying to create an effect or have a meditation or even have a phenomena. The more you can let go of the doer, the more you can let go of trying to meditate, the more you will naturally be meditated. And that's the whole idea, is you let go of the you who's trying to do, and you'll find your own indwelling spirit is guiding you. And I'm just serving as the facilitator, helping to connect you energetically. Because we're all connected energetically. We're all connected through spirit. So as we sit here in this jacuzzi of consciousness, getting high on God, I'd like to invite you to be open to receive that bliss and receive that spiritual energy that will take you into the higher plane. Because the whole purpose of the Kundalini Yoga isn't just to look at your third eye or feel your Kundalini. It's to enter into higher states of consciousness, to actually feel those sublime states and that peace and that bliss, and to gain that insight and awareness and clarity, and to feel that inspiration and passion to bring this love and light and peace into your world through what you think and you say and you do. And so you're living it. You're not just in bliss when you're meditating, but you're actually beginning to feel the bliss at work and with your family and wherever you happen to be, whatever you happen to be doing. The bliss is always here. For the kingdom of heaven lies within us. And that's what that means, is there's a spiritual awareness when we realize God's presence within us and around us, in everything, everywhere, all the time. So the divine never left. The fact your heart is beating is proof that there's a divine influence or a divine presence or the presence of the Spirit, an expression of the divine, animating your own existence. And what we're here to do today is to connect with that living presence. So it really doesn't matter what culture or what religion you belong to. We all recognize that there's a spirit, there's an innate intelligence that is directing and guiding all life on the planet. As we sit here in the jacuzzi reflecting on these things, I'd like to invite you to engage that feeling within your body. So again, remember the energy in your nervous system. Picture your nerves and like little wires that send electricity through a circuit. Just feel the energy moving through your nervous system, up and down your spine. If you just a simple exercise like making a grip with your feet and your fingers, tightening and then releasing, you simply send a current. So the purpose of doing this together and inviting you to share this with me is that we not only understand it, but we engage the energy. We engage our spirit. We start tuning into it at a level of our cellular biology and our nervous system. And then we can begin to tune into the finer frequencies that we might call chi, these areas of low resistance and high connectivity. They're flowing through meridians in the body, conducting life force energy into your cell structure. And yet there is another gradient flowing through your body. There's a current running up and down your spinal column with the positive end of the charge at the top and the negative charge at the end. So just like a bar magnet with a plus on one end and a negative on the other, there is a field coming out and around and back down and up again like a donut. This is called a torus or a toroidal field, and this occurs within every cell and within every living being and within the earth and the sun, that this energy comes up through the life force. There's a current that activates and animates our existence. And so in Kundalini Yoga, what we're doing is we're making a direct connection with the essence of what we are. We're connecting with the life force within us that is us. So breathe in and feel that energy in your nervous system. Feel it in your chi. Feel it in the electromagnetic fields around your body. And now feel it flowing between you and me. So as I'm speaking to you, you're going to begin to feel the energy. Even before we begin a meditation, just sitting in the satsang as we are today, just observe through the sound of my voice, and as I'm engaging you eye to eye, and you'll begin to feel a subtle current of energy. It's like our spirits are talking and exchanging energy at a level that's beyond the mind. So this is a psychic relationship that is an important part of developing a relationship with the teacher, and in this practice, it's what helps us transcend the mind and senses to enter into transcendental states. And so this is what we're going to be learning today, is what is the process of simplified Kundalini Yoga. So just sit back and be aware of your energy. Be aware of your awareness. These are the two principal components, consciousness and energy. Be aware of the energy in your body, because without that energy, you'd be dead. So what you are by definition is that which is causing life in you. When the life force is pulled out of your body, there's a corpse remaining. Cell structures are dissipating, and there's no more life in the body. So you are not there. What you are is that life force energy. So again, feel it in your nervous system, feel it in your chi, feel it in the electromagnetic fields around your body, and now feel it flowing between you and me. So the first part of this class you might think of as an opened eye meditation. And as you're hearing my voice and as we're self-reflecting and turning our awareness inward and contemplating these ideas, this is all part of the process of evolving the consciousness and developing the mind to integrate higher awareness into our thoughts, words, and actions. And that was and is one of the beautiful things about Swamiji's teachings. It's very scientific, it's very practical. There's no woo-woo here. You're going to feel and have a direct experience with every facet of this class. So you don't have to believe me or believe Swamiji or believe anyone else. You can learn through your own direct experience and realization. So let us sit back in this jacuzzi of consciousness, connect with the energy within ourselves, and now let's connect with the energy flowing between you and I, and see if you can feel that field or that energetic connection, like we're passing energy. So your hands are like antennas, and if you put your hands up and just breathe in, you will actually begin to connect with the energy that I'm transmitting to you through the grace of God. Not that I have any power, I'm just All of us are receiving and transmitting energy, and to the degree that we allow ourselves to be a vehicle and train our body and mind to be a vehicle, we will not only receive energy at higher levels and gradients, but we will also begin to conduct that energy at higher levels and gradients. And that will influence the other people in your life, your family, your friends, your neighbors, work associates, and the people in your neighborhood. Collectively, all of us raising our consciousness will help create the critical mass that is shifting the collective consciousness of humanity. And that's why you're here. You have been called to awaken from the dream, to remember who you are and why you were born so you can fulfill the purpose of your existence. And some part of you knows that, or you wouldn't be here. The fact you're here is the evidence of your enlightenment. So again, welcome. Take a deep breath. Let's sit back in the jacuzzi and think about what we're doing. As we focus our attention on the life force energy in our body, this is a practice that has been done for thousands of years. Matter of fact, if you trace the lineages of yoga back to their origins, which I have done in my research on world religions, in my book, Looking for God, and others, research that I've done, you'll see that all the lineages go back some 10,000 years ago, so to the earliest of recorded history, the earliest time of recorded history, earliest written documents, both the Sumerian and the Harappan cultures, talk of individuals that would sit and still their mind. If you go to the Indus Valley civilization, the Indus River flows, now mostly through Pakistan, but traditionally through India. There was what was called the Harappan culture, and you'll see these depictions of yogis sitting cross-legged with some dot here between the eyebrows, and they're clearly focusing their attention on that dot. In one depiction, there's also a dot on each of the chakras, indicating they understood these energy points that we're going to be discussing in a subsequent lecture on the chakras. But what's interesting is this has been understood or practiced for over 10,000 years. This makes this one of the oldest, if not the oldest living lineage in the world. People gazing at their third eye, people looking within themselves and tuning into their life force energy. Another symbolic representation within the Shaivite lineage of the yogis are what are called Shiva lingams, phalluses that sit in the yoni, so the male and female principles represented, representing the union of the opposites and the procreative energy, which is the Kundalini energy, from latent potential to patent expression. Consciousness expressing itself, creating what the yogis call Maya, the physical world that we're beholding. But there is something underlying this physical reality that is appearing to us through our mind and senses. There's something providing for it to appear. There's something that was before the Big Bang boomed. There's something that provides for existence to exist. There's something directing and guiding existence, and has apparently from the beginning of time. And there's some place that everything that is appearing goes back to. It appears to disappear, whether we're talking about an energy particle within an atom, or a molecule, or a cell, or a human, or a planet, or a star, or a galaxy, or a universe. They appear to arise out of emptiness. They are sustained and guided by invisible forces that are not within the spectrum of our senses to perceive. And all these things that we're perceiving continually change. Everything you experience is only a modification of a previously existing state. So everything we're seeing is something changing. Einstein said, nothing happens till something moves. So everything we're experiencing through a sense is some energy manifesting. Light is energy, sound is energy, heat is energy, movement is energy, thought is energy moving through fields of neurons in your brain. Even mass is energy because it's ultimately comprised of energy particles. Protons, neutrons, electrons, or the quarks and hadrons that lie within them. All this is described in my other book called The Theory of Existence and the Science of Consciousness, if you want to get into the science of it more. But the important part to recognize is these two fundamental principles One is energy. So I invite you to breathe in and connect with the energy within you that is you. Connect with the force that guided you to be listening to me and is listening to me now. For the same if we both can dial in on that same frequency, as it were, you will begin to go into the planes. I will guide you into higher planes so you can experience them for yourself. How can you be expected to go to these higher states if you've never been there before? So the purpose of the teacher or the guide and the Kundalini instruction is to help you tune into higher states. So by simply passing energy to you, you don't have to question whether you've gone into a higher state. You actually begin to feel a shift in your emotional mental state. So breathe in and realize that for thousands of years, gurus have been sharing this information to chelas, teachers sharing with students. Guru means dispeller of darkness, so what we're trying to do is illuminate, remove the cloud of unknowing so the true nature of the self can be revealed. So the light of your own indwelling spirit, as you meditate, shines brighter, it creates greater clarity. This is your illumination. This is your enlightenment. So breathe in, my friends, and feel the energy in your body. Recognize that this energy is moving through the nervous system, again through the chi, through these electromagnetic fields and other subtle currents, ethereal fields that we'll be tapping into later. And just be with it. And just observe how your state will change as you're listening and watching this class. Be aware of what state you're in. So this is the second part. One part is energy, or Shakti. The other part is consciousness, that serves two parts of the same whole. They're really not two different things. We're just seeing an extraction of the consciousness as an expression, and you feel that as life. That's what life is, that it's an expression of consciousness. But there's something underlying everything that exists. So this is where we're going with the meditation and the Shakti pot. By tuning into the energy, you naturally plug into the source from which it is derived. The source of all expressions is the same. There's one source for all creation. And so by tapping into the source itself within yourself, you're tapping into the source of creation itself. The same consciousness expressing itself through you is being expressed through everyone else, everywhere else, all the time, every day. And so as we expand our awareness beyond just our physical senses and our mind, we begin to feel the interconnected wholeness of our own being. And this is where we're going in this course. This is what you are going to be experiencing, higher and higher states of consciousness. So this is one of the oldest and most recognized traditions of yoga in the world. And Swamiji has done us a great favor, done us the honor of being able to take this information, distill it into a way that we can bring it in to our working reality, because we can't all just go off and sit in ashrams in India. Well, you can. I did for months or years at a time, but eventually we need to bring back this awareness into the world, and that's where you will grow the most, and that's where we can create the greatest shift in the world. So as we sit here in the jacuzzi of consciousness, just kind of reflecting on this energy within us that is us, and then being aware that there is an awareness developing, we start becoming more aware of our awareness. We recognize that we have a consciousness, and this consciousness is conscious of what we're thinking and saying and doing, what we're watching, what you're thinking. If I ask you, well, what did I just say? There's some place you go within. There's some part of you that's been kind of watching what your ears have been picking up and your eyes have been viewing, and your mind has been processing these thoughts, and just like you're watching a movie. So there's a metaphor within the metaphor. That consciousness remains the same whether you're in a body or not. It's the same consciousness, and this is what you're becoming conscious of, this consciousness itself that is your own abiding nature. So Swamiji developed what he calls the 10 stages of sky, or the 10 stages of simplified Kundalini yoga. And so in the second class, or second lecture from his lecture series, we're going to go over what sky is. And I want to explain to you these 10 stages of Simplified Kundalini Yoga. The first one, and I think it's singularly the most important of the stages, is what he referred to as the purification. The transmission of the Shaktipat from the teacher to the student. In other words, most people have a certain energy gradient or frequency at which they're operating at. And most people within their ethereal bodies have different impressions, different imprints that have come from their life experiences. Many of them are good, many of them may not be so good. There could be some anger, some fear, some worry, some feeling of not being good enough. Whatever negativity there might be, it forms imprints, not only in your mind, in your neurons. Certain parts of your brain will have associative memories from your past life experience that could trigger fear or worry or anger or what have you. And in your cell structure too. Your body holds energy and keeps you at a certain frequency. So even if you do a lot of work on yourself, there still may be some other areas undealt with that are kind of holding you down. Kind of like carrying around a backpack full of rocks that just weigh you down, keep you from moving farther or going higher. So part of what we do in this process is we transmit an energy that you tune into, and this kind of pulls you out of those mindsets and lower states of consciousness. It helps recalibrate you to a higher level of consciousness. And that's why just sitting together, even if we weren't talking, you'd be able to feel a certain energy gradient around me, because I've been developing myself to conduct this energy for 40 years. As you have been conducting your meditations, you've also been shifting your consciousness. And your energy gradient is getting stronger. With Kirlian photography, which measures electromagnetic fields, for decades now, they've done studies of measuring meditators, and you can always see the meditators, whether they're doing mantra meditation or pranayama meditation or some prayerful type meditation or Shaktipat or Kundalini. You can always see that the light around the heads of the people that are practicing are brighter and shinier. They look more luminescent. And the people that practice Shaktipat or Kundalini have, of course, the most intense and brightest lights of all, at least the ones that I have seen. And they are calibrated at a higher level, meaning there's less negative imprints, there's a greater gateway or capacity for the light to shine through them. And so this is our goal in Simplified Kundalini Yoga, is to develop our capacity to bring more light into our world. And so the first step in Swamiji's 10-stage program is this transmission of the Shakti, just making a connection with the teacher. That's why the teacher-student relationship is so important. And since he's no longer physically with us anymore, he's with us in spirit, he had trained me to share this with you. So now hopefully you will develop it to the point where you can share it with others, and we have training programs, so that everyone can feel it and everyone can transmit it, and more light will shine throughout the world as a result. So the first step is this transition of energy that occurs through the psychic relationship that we're developing. And the transmission of the Shakti shifts your energy gradient. So you might think of it as most people are listening on the AM spectrum on the radio dial, and they may be listening to different stations, but depending on their particular tastes, and likes, and interests. And then all of a sudden we discover as spiritual aspirants that there's this whole other level of energy that you can work at. We'll call it FM. And all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of different stations you can tune into. This is essentially what we're doing in this class, is I'm going to teach you how to tune into these more subtle gradients and higher levels of energy and awareness. And even if you've been practicing for 30 years, there's always another level to go, and these practices will help everyone, even if you're already a teacher. So let us breathe in and just say, Lord, Help me to be a pure vehicle for your love and light and wisdom. I want to learn and grow and evolve. I want to realize the truth. I want to realize myself. I want to realize God. I want to bring this awareness into the world so we can live in a better world together. Because innately you know that's why you've been called. So the first step is this Shaktipat. The second step is what Swamiji calls understanding the meaning of Om. So you've all heard the mantra Om. It's referred to as the primordial sound vibration. But the essence of the Om is what was before it was an audible sound. In other words, there's a silence to Om that is its essence. Everything that arises out of what? So Om represents the primordial potentiality through which all things arise out of, are sustained by, and merge back into. So you can use the metaphor of the sound, you can use the metaphor of the light. They're referring to the same thing, something appearing out of nothingness. And when you meditate, you may very well hear these primordial sounds. You can hear the sound of the spheres. There are high-pitched ringing sounds. The yogis call the bani, or the shabd, the inner light and sound. But that's typically more of a psychic phenomena. What we are doing is moving beyond phenomena into the primordial state without a second, a state without a second, a state without a phenomena occurring. There's no longer even one experiencing the phenomena because there's no differentiation. You've transcended differentiation. So this is Sat Chit Ananda, which we'll get into in a future lecture. But understanding what Om is an important part of this practice. But you come to this realization not through thinking about it and trying to understand what it means, but by being it together. So when we go into meditation, we're going to spend some time in the silence, and you will find that there's a primordial presence, almost a dynamic stillness that is the essence of the Om itself. The third stage or level is what Swamiji would call arousing the Kundalini. And this means moving the energy up. The Kundalini Shakti moves from the base of the spine up, what's known as the Sushumna Nadi, the central vessel, up to the top of the head, and it transitions through different energy centers. We'll go into more detail later. Each chakra, which means wheel, because the energy goes round and round, corresponds with a different endocrine gland, part of your sympathetic nervous system. So there's actually a very evolved science within the Siddha tradition, and it corresponds physically to the biology of the body. So the first chakra is the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine, the root chakra, right? Well, it corresponds with your ovaries or your testicles, depending on your gender. And you always have pairs of these endocrine glands, or two sides to them. One will be predominantly positive, one will be predominantly negative. And between these two poles, the energy will travel and be conducted. And as it goes from one pole to the other, and then back again, it's making a circle or a cycle. It goes around and round like a wheel. So the word in Sanskrit for wheel is chakra. And what we find is the places where the yogis were feeling the energy move, they would say it moves like a wheel. It's going round and round. There's like a vortexy. And this is exactly what's happening. This is energy is being conducted through your body, and it's sending a signal, and the hormones are being created as a result of this that send a chemically encoded pattern into your body to direct your physiology how to respond. So from an electrical current, a chemical secretion, a hormone or a peptide, is extruded, and this is sending a signal into the body. As the energy moves up the central vessel, it will go through Svadhisthana, which corresponds with the adrenal glands, so the emotional center. The third, Manipuram, will correspond with the pancreas and the spleen. The fourth center, Anahata, is the thymus gland. Vishuddha, the throat center, is the thyroid gland. Of course, up here at the third eye, we have the pineal and pituitary gland that work together. And at the top of the head, we have the two spheres of the brain. For the seventh chakra, it sits right at the crown. And so what we do in the initiations and during our retreats, and what we'll be doing through this webinar, is learning to move this energy up from the base of the spine. And this is what Swamiji calls arousing the Kundalini. And it is kind of arousal. It's a sexual energy, particularly when it's felt at the root chakra. So most people, when they have a lot of surplus of life force energy, they expend it through their lovemaking. But what we've learned to do, and not that you can't do that, but as you move more of that energy up your spine, that spiritual energy is transmuted and transformed as it moves up to the crown and expands and opens that crown chakra up, so you can experience these higher states of bliss. And we'll go into this in much more detail in future lectures. The fourth level after arousal is Shanti Yoga. So Swamiji realizes when we put our attention on our third eye, we're drawing energy up the spine. This is awakening our sixth sense and developing our higher consciousness. But that can be extremely intense. Some people have had Kundalini awakenings that have scared them. That's why you always need to work with a teacher. Not that it's going to kill you or hurt you, just that it can be very disconcerting, and you need to learn how to regulate your own life force energy. So just like looking at your third eye helps bring the energy up, bringing the energy back down to your root chakra by doing the Aswini Mudra, the contraction and releasing of your PC muscle, the pubococcygeus, or just rubbing your tailbone with your fingers to create some friction so that your mind's attention goes down to the tailbone, will help integrate the energy and ground you again. So if any of you, after watching one of these videos, starts feeling a lot of energy and it's disconcerting for you, first of all, it's a good thing. It means psychic energy is opening up and you're moving into new states. That's usually a very pleasant and enjoyable experience. But if you're new to it, it could be disconcerting. All you need to, or if you're having trouble sleeping at night, just rub your tailbone, and you'll find that just as looking at your third eye brings your Kundalini up to these higher centers, focusing your attention on your root center or tailbone, the Muladhara, will help ground you and bring you back into your body. So this is the fourth stage of Kundalini Yoga. So we have the Shaktipat, the purification, the psychic connection between the teacher and the student. Number 2 is understanding the Om, understanding the transcendental nature of existence, being able to move beyond the mind, and understanding there's a place beyond the mind. 3, arousing the Kundalini, or sometimes awakening the Kundalini, bringing it up so that it's flowing with more force and effect. And 4 is Shanti Yoga, meaning learning also how to bring it back down. The 5th stage or level is called Thuriya. So after watching a few of these videos and doing this meditation on your own for a few days or weeks, we're going to redirect our focus from the third eye up into the crown chakra. Before going to the crown chakra, it's good that you make sure that your Kundalini is really humming by doing a lot of meditation on your third eye. And then we'll go to Thuriya. The 6th level is what Swamiji calls control of the temperaments, control of the mind, the passions of the mind. Yama and Niyama. There are restraints and observances in classical yoga that Swamiji has rendered down into 5 processes to help regulate and mediate the temperaments of the mind. Because you think about it, sometimes your mind just goes off on its own, doesn't it? And you may feel like you have no control over the mind. Well, that's because maybe you haven't disciplined the mind, like a child or your dog or another pet. You need to spend some time training your dog or training your child how to perform certain functions. In the same way, you need to sometimes to retrain your own mind so that it can transcend old or limiting beliefs and imprints that have been taken in through different sources. Your family, your culture, your education, and so forth. And we'll, of course, go into again in another lecture. One of those lectures will be on the analysis of thought, understanding how your own mind works. The second lecture will be on moralization of desire. So some desires are good, some desires may create conflict and pain. If you're in a state of desiring, that could be keeping you from peace and happiness. So Swamiji has a number of techniques to help you streamline your mind so it's not chasing after things that are not making you happy. The other lecture will be on what he calls the neutralization of anger. We all get anger. We all feel anger. We get tested every day. There's a series of tools and techniques that you're going to learn to deal with anger. Number 4 is eradication of worries. So many people live in fear and are worrying and not really enjoying life because they're all caught up in all these stories in their mind. Well, there's something you can do to move beyond that. We're going to talk about that. And finally, there's the realization of the consciousness itself, realization of the self. And so this is what the upcoming classes are going to entail, both a technique that you can practice that will create an energetic shift in your body and recalibrate you to a higher state of consciousness, but also provide you some tools and training so you can take conscious control over your mind and its programming and its processes to create a designer brain. Create the brain you want to have so it thinks happy thoughts and peaceful thoughts, and you think and speak and act from a loving and conscious place, and not from a reactionary mind that is just pulling you off into unconscious states, which is what happens to most people. So there's a training in this that we're going to be going over during these next few lectures. Stage 7 is Thuriya teeth. So Thuriya is going to the crown chakra. Thuriya teeth is moving beyond the crown, moving beyond the physical body, from individual consciousness into total consciousness. And this is where you really start to feel the bliss in Thuriya teeth meditations. Stage number 8 is the auto-suggestion. Swamiji gives us a number of techniques to speak to our own mind, to be able to create harmony within the whole of our being, within our body, mind, and spirit, within the different stages, the physical, cellular part of our body, the mental state, the emotional state, the spiritual state. Are they all in alignment? Are they all congruent? And then with the states around you, with your family, your relationships, your culture, your world. The 9th step is the fulfillment of duties. So this is where we go into karma yoga. And the 10th is increasing your stock of vital fluids and vital energy so that you can be a greater transmission or transmitter of this spiritual energy so others can feel it. And if we were all plugged into it, we'd all be happy and we'd all be living in peace. So with that in mind, with this goal of developing ourselves to be a pure vehicle or channel for our own indwelling spirit to shine forth and guide us, if you can think of the body as like the bulb, and the electricity is your spirit, as the spirit enters into the body, it lights up the light bulb. And this is what we're going to be going to do right now, matter of fact. So why don't you take a deep breath. We'll transition here from discussion into meditation. So I want to make sure you're sitting up straight. It's good if you can cross your legs. If they're not crossed, that's fine. You can use a pillow or blanket. Make yourself as comfortable as you can be. And let us just sit here for a moment and behold what is happening as we're sitting here. We don't really have to do anything for our life to function. I mean, we have to eat throughout the day and things like this, but in any given moment, our body knows how to run itself. And so I'd like to invite you to just breathe in and tune in to that innate intelligence that is causing life within you again, and realize you don't have to go anywhere to find this. It's right here, and it's expressing itself through you by your very volition to be listening to me in this moment. So breathe in and be attentive to that part of you that is hearing. And as you're listening to my voice, be attentive to that which is speaking through the man, through Stephen Sadler. So there's a human being here, but that's almost irrelevant who it is or where it is. The point is the same spirit will work through whatever terminals have tuned into it. So what we're doing right here is we're tuning in to a presence that is always present. And I want you to focus your attention on that feeling. Just breathe in and feel the energy within you. And as you breathe out, I invite you now to close your eyes. And as we sit here in the jacuzzi of consciousness, affix your attention between the eyebrows. Now, if your eyes begin to flutter or twitch or get sore, you're probably trying to focus too hard, and that could create eye strain. If you get a headache from meditating, you're probably straining your eyes too much or trying too hard in general. And all you have to do is soften your gaze or drop your gaze. It may feel like you're maybe looking more at the bridge of your nose then, or maybe even higher up. But find the comfortable resting place and keep your eyes still as they focus upward. And once the eyes have kind of found their place to stick, you focus on the feeling or sensation between the eyebrows. Where you put your attention, energy follows. So as we're putting our attention to the point between the eyebrows, we're drawing energy up to this sixth psychic center, or Ajna chakra. And this is engaging our life force energy. It's engaging your innate intelligence. And now what will happen is your own indwelling spirit will begin to guide the meditation. Just like I'm being guided to speak these words to you, you're being guided to follow them too. We're all being guided. It's the same innate intelligence working through all of creation. So breathe in. And imagine you're breathing in through this point between the eyebrows. That's another way that you can kind of fix your attention and focalize it one-pointedly at the bindu. And as you breathe out, just imagine all your thoughts are being funneled into a single stream. So there's a stream of consciousness flowing through your third eye. It's almost like when you take a magnifying glass and all that light is gathered through the lens and it's bent into like a laser, into a single stream. With laser light focus, adjust your attention at the point between the eyebrows. Gentle breath in. And release and let go. And now rather than trying to meditate, you simply allow yourself to be meditated. And I have meditations you can download for free at selfawareness.com. If you like the help of my voice guiding you, it's another good way to connect with the energy. So breathe in, galvanize your focus between the eyebrows, and as you breathe out, just let this feeling be your guide. Follow this feeling between the eyebrows. This serves as your homing beacon, and it will guide you down the corridors of your own mind and take you back to the place before thoughts arise. And in the emptiness of the void, you simply allow your attention to dwell. And anytime you're distracted by a thought, feeling, or sound, just come back to your third eye. And if you're focusing on that third eye, you're going to start feeling a buzz. And that buzz is just going to get better and better and better. You're going to get high on God. It's a blissful sensation. It's meant to be pleasant. It's the way the divine is showing you, here is the gateway. Here is the opening. This opening is of your own third eye. So breathe into your third eye. Breathe out through your third eye, just imagining the current flowing in and out through this point as if you plugged in and you were recharging your cell phone, you'd plug it in. Well, this meditation, you're plugging into the primordial life force current, and it's recharging your body. It's bringing more life force into your body. So just breathe in and gaze at the point between your eyebrows, and now bring one hand up. Bring your right hand up. So keep your eyes closed, but put your right hand in the air, palm facing away from you, perhaps tilting your hands so the palm's facing upward slightly, like a satellite dish would point up to the sky. And I'm just going to send some energy into your hand and into your body, and you're going to begin to feel a tingly sensation. And each time we do this meditation, this feeling is going to get stronger. In the beginning, it might seem very faint. As with any new skill, it takes practice to develop it. So here we practice. So observe the sensation in your hand, and particularly now in your middle and index finger. And then slowly bring that hand towards your own third eye. So if I was with you, if you were on one of our retreats, or you were at an initiation that we're conducting, we go city to city doing different programs, I would come to you and I would touch your third eye. Since I'm not in the room with you, I'm passing the energy to your hand. And now if you take that hand and touch your own third eye and just hold it there for a minute, you'll feel the energy in your finger going into your third eye. And that's just a way that we can help amplify the current and create some exchange of energy that'll open up, free up and open up and let out this energy, open up this Kundalini, open up this third eye, and really make it strong and beautiful. So breathe in, bring your hand back down, and just focus at the point between the eyebrows. Know that you are protected and guided by the divine in all your activities, day and night, in all places. And another exercise Swamiji would do is he would have us open our eyes while we're meditating. So we can play with this over the internet. I've never actually done this before, so this might be fun. Slowly open your eyes and continue to gaze at your third eye with your eyes open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hand up towards the screen and just observe the sensation at the point between the eyebrows as I do this. So if I was sitting in a room with you, or if one of our teachers was leading the meditation that you were in, they would come up to you and they would bring their hand up maybe an inch or two from your third eye, just so that the electromagnetic field that they were conducting could be felt by you. And then as you open your eye, you see what's happening. And now, again, close your eyes and gaze at the point between your eyebrows. So these are all just little ways that we can start activating psychic senses and awakening your sixth sense, your higher awareness. The third thing that Swamiji would always do that is kind of fun and we can play with today is he would ring a bell, a Tibetan bell, and he actually gave me a set of Tibetan bells that he got in Tibet. And when I began doing the initiations at his request and teaching his students, when he went back to India, he said, here's the bell you can use. So I'm going to ring this bell, and I want to invite you to listen to the sound of the bell from the point between the eyebrows and see if you can feel the vibration of the bell from your third eye. Observe the sensation from your Ajna chakra. Dissolve into the feeling. And now observe the feeling. Observe the feeling in your body. Feel the life force. That which causes life within you is you. So turn your awareness around 180 degrees and allow your mind and body to behold the spirit awareness that you are. First observe the feeling, the energy, the life force, the Shakti, and notice that there's been a subtle shift in the gradient and the quality of the energy. Note what state you're in. And now observe the part of you that is observing what state you're in. Observe the observer observing. So there's a part of you that is conscious of what state you're in, conscious of an effect or feeling in your body, an energy. And there's some part of you that is conscious of how conscious you are. So just be aware of that part of you that is conscious of the energy, conscious of what you're thinking, conscious of what you're experiencing through your senses. And now turn it around so the mind and body is kind of looking back at that which was looking at it. So there's a subject, there's an object. The subject is you, the consciousness. The object is the mind and body, which is manifesting and which you are observing as the consciousness. So observe the feeling, and then observe the part of you observing the feeling, and then observe the observer observing. Feel the love. Feel the peace. Like a fountain of love is flowing up inside you. This energy is just asking for you to pay attention to it and to develop it and to let it out. Your spirit seeks to be free to flow through your mind and guide you, to flow through your mouth, to spread love through what you say and through what you do, and in every situation you're in, everywhere, all the time. This is why we're here, is to bring this spiritual awareness out into the physical world and to share it. So let's take a minute while we're in this state to think of those we love and send love to them, like a psychic transmission to your mother and your father, your spouse or significant other, your children, your pets, your neighbors, your good friends and work associates, and your clients and your students and neighbors, everybody you know. Matter of fact, let's think of all the people we don't know. Let's think of all the people in this world that need love. Maybe they have an affliction, physical, mental, emotional. Maybe they can't eat. Maybe they want to kill someone. They're at war. They just hate. Let's just send love to all the people that hate. Let's just send love to all the people that are hated. Let's send all the people that would kill themselves for another without judging them. Let's just send love. Take a deep breath and let's just send a wave of love into the masses of humanity, as if they could feel a little bit of what we're feeling right now. That we wanted to share a part of our love and our illumination with them as brothers and sisters, so we can all share it together and all create the world we all want to live in. May the whole world live in happiness and peace, and may each of you enjoy good health, long life, prosperity, happiness, and peace. If you'd like to know more, just go to Self-Awareness Institute at selfawareness.com. We've got all kinds of programs you can learn about, and join us for more classes, or go to Enlightenment Radio. Just Google it, and I'll look forward to sharing with you again. Jai Guru.